That was so deep, Brittany. And I'm interested in hearing how you have managed to steer your life away from that. Because it's something that draws you in about growing up in those situations. And even though you vow with yourself that you would not be like that, for some reason you end up finding yourself in those situations. At least that's what I found in my own life. That the abuse that I experienced, I almost transferred it to the next generation until I deliberately, first of all, forgave my mom for what she did. But secondly, I apologized. And my kids were still small, but I went to them and I said, boys, this is what's going on. This is what has happened to me. This is why I reacted in this way. It's not okay. And I am sorry for that. You must know that your father was foolish and stupid in reacting and treating you that way when you were wrong. I should have been more patient. And that was a painful thing. And we had our moment together. But that's how I was able to move on from perpetuating that old inherited behavior. So I'm interested in knowing how you were able to move away from that.
There are multiple different ways of how I can go about this, but I'm going to actually work with what I established earlier in our conversation. And that was I had my great-grandparents who, time with them was just wonderful. It showed me what love, what care looked like, what nurturing looked like. And even though my family, my mom, my aunts did not like them because of, encouraging the divorce, I still found something very different from them. And so that kind of gave me that window of opportunity to go, life doesn't have to be like this. So that's one part. The second aspect was having friends and spending time at my friends' places. I was a latchkey kid, so it's either I go home alone, my grandmother's out at Target or whatnot, working at, Kmart or whatnot, or, I spend time at friends' places. And so I spent a lot of times at friends' houses and noticed also a different dynamic. So the next factor is I vowed to remember what I experienced during childhood and how I felt about it. And I did not like it. I did not like what I was experiencing. So I took that to set the tone as the things that my mother is doing, the things that my grandma was doing were not model behaviors. So ultimately, I learned what not to do from them. And with learning what to do, once I became pregnant, I started going into research, started some deep dives into health, wellness, keeping my body as clean as possible because I want the healthiest kid as possible, and I obviously was going for a home water birth, which is what ended up happening because I don't trust the hospital system. It's a whole other thing. I used to get sinus infections a lot as a kid. I'm highly sensitive to chemicals and all sorts of different things. So doing another check. So with that research, also started on the research of, parenting. What type of parent did I want to be? Well, I wanted to actually have a, a parental bond with my child. And so that research came about. I got into a baby wearing community, happened to meet someone at the doctor's office, and the doctor that I chose does both homeopathic and then normal medical routes, but is well researched on both those factors. So that's why I specifically chose that doctor, because of the continued knowledge that she gained throughout her career and the research that she's done, which I find a lot of doctors, since they are so busy, overworked and overwhelmed, don't really have the time or take the time to do that. But yeah, that research paid off of choosing that doctor. And in the doctor's office, I met a woman who ran a mommy's group. So ended up getting in with that, which, once again, reinstilled the values of being more of a caring, nurturing parent instead of the traditional American parent that's all about shame, blame, punishments, and all that stuff. I'm not about that life. And that's not to say I don't have those moments of having my buttons pushed and, maybe yelling occasionally or those sorts of things. But I've only spanked my daughter once or twice just because I was at my limit. But it wasn't anything that was super harsh. It wasn't anything that was super firm. It was just tap, I need you to stop type of thing. But along the way, I made sure to continue my learning and my personal development so that I could be there and show up for my daughter as best as possible. And part of that was also I needed time for myself. So I was like, preschool, let's get her into a preschool. The first one did not work out at all. And she was just shutting down. The second one, however, is humanistic philosophy, Amalia, Summerhill type of preschooling and elementary school dynamic. So bringing my daughter to that, they had parenting classes, a whole lot of support, just a great space, beautiful experience. My daughter just blossomed there. She had her freedom to explore and experience who she is. I had my freedom to get back into the entertainment industry for a bit. And the school is run by child psychologists. So just something that I wish my daughter would have experienced throughout elementary school. But the divorce happened, and her dad decided to pull her out of that. So needless to say, shit hit the fan with the divorce, and that was very, very, very challenging time. With everything that happened, like I was dealing with extreme anxiety. I had to hold space for my daughter for what she had experienced and gone through. Restraining order I had to file, and all this crazy stuff that was just insane. And at the same time, barely scraping together money, living at a friend's place. It was just like it was very tough for me to handle and manage my emotions at that point. And that was probably the most challenging time of things, just because it was such a huge demand on me emotionally, physically, in every way, shape, and form. And it was still, I didn't know how to really get the support that I needed, and didn't have the people around me yet that were or that could provide a concrete or best outcome support system. So, I mean, it really comes down to multiple different factors of having awareness, remembering my thoughts and feelings during that, having cognitive empathy to go, if I didn't like this, why would I do it to someone else? And self-management, self-mastery, self-control to defy those things. And once again, I had a lot of alone time as a kid, so I got to really form and engage my thoughts. And I think that is definitely one of the things that helped me through it, even though I didn't have a sense of personhood when I was growing up. I still had that alone time that still gave me a little bit of that autonomy, that little bit of a rebellious streak against what I was experiencing within the household. And then having a good support system is key for your idea of how you want to have that relationship. And so, I'm very thankful to be close to my daughter, and, I want her to be able to be open and transparent with me. So naturally, doing things like lying to her is not something that's going to work out. Like if I'm lying to her, she's going to have that idea that it's okay to lie to me. And, she's a teenager right now. So it's like, I want her to be able to open up and be transparent on things. Like if something bad happens, she knows that she can come to me, that I'm here for her, and that she can count on me and rely on me. And Sifaway, it's exactly as you've stated. Like when I mess up, I make sure to apologize, to come clear about it, to have a discussion about that of like, yeah, I'm so sorry. That was not okay. And I want to check in with you on how your feelings are with that. So, I think that makes all the difference. And also understand that we're human, we mess up. And if you put too much on it, it's like, it actually inhibits connection instead of just coming clear on that. Like when you make a mistake, be like, hey, this was not cool. And I'm really sorry I did that. And it happens. We, do that as adults. And I know that Naval has also said something, along the lines of, I'm completely paraphrasing, but I understand the sentiment of it is like, kids are humans. They're miniature people, and they get to be treated as people, not as kids or something separate until they are an adult. So if you're not going to do something to an adult, don't do it to a kid.
It's so beautiful that your daughter was saved from having to deal with that. I think our suffering should not be transferred to our children. And like, it warms my heart that your time alone, spending all the time alone, led you to think and plan much better so that you don't make your child suffer the same. I think that that's such a beautiful thing. I'm opening the room up now so that as we continue the conversation, other people can jump in freely and ask questions as well about aspects that they find interesting. So I just wanted to let you know so that you know as we continue, it's now open.